I'm Mandy Barker. I'm a photographic artist from England, UK, and I've been photographing marine plastic debris for the past 10 years. Nothing else but marine plastic debris. Hello everyone, happy World Oceans Day. I'm here with one of my pieces of work called Bird's Nest, and this is based on a fishing line that I collected from all over the world, from different parts of the world, and photographed on a black background to kind of make it look like a shoal of jellyfish. So just to show you really that these are kind of nest-like balls of line that I've just put on the black background, and it's quite important to show different depths. Like there's some tiny ones here. There's pieces of net, which once started out as large pieces of fishing net, and then they've broken down into these tiny little pieces, and then eventually into microfibers, which are obviously really damaging in the environment. So basically I create an image by using different sizes of plastic. This is what gives the depth and the kind of suspension, I think. So what I'd like you to do is I've made something here which is made from cut up single-use plastic that you might get at home. So I've used sort of crisp bags, old bits of single-use packaging. You could cut up spoons. You could use these, rings from bottle tops. All sorts of single-use things that you might have at home that you could bring into school, and then you could cut up and use as a mosaic. So as you can see, I've got an old milk bottle carton here that I've washed out, and I'm just cutting really some different sizes to make shapes for a mosaic. You can use anything, crisp bags, there's old butter tubs here, there's all sorts of things here. And then basically I'm just using them to make a mosaic and picking out the colours of the world and sort of sticking them onto these little areas that I've created here. Because I think in a way this is the same sort of thing as plastic starting out as these sort of large objects, and then as we see here, when they get into the sea, they break down into smaller parts, eventually into these sort of size pieces, and then into microplastics, which are less than 5 millimeters in size. So it's quite important, and I think this relates to the size of the world and then all these smaller parts that it's made up from. So you can do absolutely anything. This is just an example. You could, make any sort of design or pattern or anything, but I'd love to see what you make. Don't copy me. You're all really creative, and I'd love to see what you do. So while you're thinking about the plastic issue, this is a great opportunity on World Oceans Day to think about the oceans and think about the amount of plastic that we use, and hopefully try and stop using as much of plastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a simple setup as to how I would probably arrange my images, just to give you some idea of how I would start to make a photograph. So I've got lots of different things that I've collected from the sea here. Small things, packaging, single-use items, plastic from the bottlenecks of bottles. I've got lots of toys and flowers and things like that, all manner of things that I find in the sea that you just wouldn't believe have ended up in the sea. So if I start doing some sort of arrangement, sort of using the plastics similar to my other work, I would start probably arranging the larger and the medium-sized pieces first. And I'd probably think about whether I want to highlight a certain type of object, or whether I want to say something, give it a certain message, whether I want to say something about single-use plastics or microplastics or whatever that might be. So what I would do is I would take a photograph of these larger items, and then I would probably introduce some smaller items, and these are examples of the plastic that I've taken from the beach. So you can see the way that larger objects break down into smaller pieces, and I would use these pieces to sprinkle in between the larger objects. And when you take the photograph, you'll notice that this helps give the photograph depth. So the smaller pieces make it look like you're looking into the distance and kind of give an infinity. So we'll sprinkle a few of those on around like this. Of course you might have your own ideas, but this is just the basis of mine. Obviously you might not be able to get plastic collected from the sea, which all this is, but you have plenty of plastic at home, I'm sure, that you'll be able to use. All sorts of crisp bags, all things that aren't recyclable, sweet wrappers, food packaging, these net bags that you see fruit come in, plastic unrecyclable sort of fruit juice drinks, spoons and all that sort of thing. So you can make your own representation of what you'd like to say. So thank you for listening, and I can't wait to see what you produce.